Hey everybody and welcome. So today we are diving deep into the incredible story of a song that didn't just hit #1, it completely reignited a global superstar's career. Of course, we're talking about Jennifer Lopez's 2011 mega hit, On the Floor.
And this is such a great question, right? Because this wasn't just another single on the radio. No, this was a high-stakes, all-or-nothing bet that completely redefined her career. So, how did she pull it off? Let's get into it.
Okay, so to really get why On the Floor was such a huge deal, you gotta look at where J.Lo was right before it dropped. Because honestly, by the late 2000s, her music career was kinda struggling.
And wow, the numbers really don't lie. Just look at this. From the nearly 4 million copies she sold of J.Lo back in 2001, her sales just fell off a cliff, all the way down to just over 160,000 for Brave in 2007. That is a massive drop, and it put a ton of pressure on whatever she was going to do next.
And yeah, that next move, it did not go smoothly. The first few tries to launch her new album, Love, were, well, let's just say they were duds. The lead single, Louboutins, didn't even make it onto the main Billboard chart. Another song, Fresh Out the Oven, got downgraded to just a buzz single. Things got so bad she actually left her record label, Epic Records.
And you can just feel how much this was getting to her personally. This quote right here, it shows this moment of real, deep self-doubt. You have this multi-platinum superstar genuinely wondering if her time was up. This is rock bottom. This is where the comeback story had to begin. But here's the thing. Instead of just throwing in the towel, J.Lo and her new label, Island Def Jam, they decided to go all in. They knew they couldn't just release a song. They needed an event, something so big, so infectious, you just couldn't ignore it. And their strategy, it was absolutely brilliant. See, instead of cooking something up from scratch, they reached back in time and grabbed a melody that was already a proven worldwide smash hit. You know the hook from On the Floor? It's from Lambada, that 1989 sensation that was literally everywhere. So right away the song had this built-in nostalgia, this familiarity that people all over the world would recognize instantly.
Okay, so you have this classic melody. How do you make it a 2011 hit? Well, you bring in the absolute hottest producer on the planet at the time, Red One. This is the guy behind all those monster Lady Gaga hits. And his whole goal was simple: make a track that was pure J.Lo. It had to be about dance, parties, and her heritage.
And you know what? It totally worked. For J.Lo, this wasn't just some business decision. It connected right back to her roots, to who she is at her core, a dancer. And you can really feel that genuine connection in the track. It's authentic.
So you've got the perfect recipe, right? The sample, the producer, a superstar hungry for a comeback. And when On the Floor was finally released, it wasn't just a success. It was a straight-up explosion.
Just let that number sink in. 37. This thing didn't just do well in a few places, it hit #1 in 37 countries. This was a legitimate global phenomenon, taking over dance floors everywhere from London to LA. And to really see what a comeback this was, just think back to those first singles that couldn't even crack the Hot 100. Well, On the Floor didn't just crack it, it smashed its way into the top 10 right away, eventually hitting #3. The comeback was, without a doubt, official.
Okay, and check this out. This is maybe my favorite fact about this whole thing. The song was so huge, it actually dragged the original Lambada back onto the Billboard charts after 2 decades. How often does that happen? A hit so massive, it literally brings another hit back from the dead.
So, what about sales? Well, the final numbers for 2011 are just staggering. It sold 8.4 million copies all over the world. That made it the best-selling single by a female artist for the entire year. So yeah, J.Lo wasn't just back, she was sitting at the very top of the music world again.
But you know how it goes. With a hit this big, there's always a little bit of drama, right? And On the Floor was no exception.
So pretty soon after the song came out, people with sharp ears started noticing it sounded a little familiar. Not the melody, but the lyrics. You can see here, they're almost identical to a song by another artist, Cat DeLuna. And here's the kicker. The producer on both tracks, the same guy, Red One.
At first, Cat DeLuna was pretty chill about it. She basically said, hey, it's cool, a big artist like J.Lo is inspired by my sound, and she even said, I love her.
But then her tone started to shift. People started pointing out similarities in the music videos too, and she came out with this much sharper statement, basically accusing them of taking her vision and hoping no one would notice. J.Lo, for her part, basically said she had no idea what was going on.
All right, so there was also some drama around the song's big debut on American Idol, but even that didn't go off without a hitch. Turns out there were some safety issues with the stage and a prop that involved smashing glass. So this huge, highly anticipated performance had to be pre-taped. And you could tell J.Lo was pretty bummed about it. She really wanted that big live moment for everybody watching.
Okay, so we've had the massive highs, a little bit of controversy. What's the lasting legacy here? Why is this song so important? And why are we still talking about it?
When you boil it all down, On the Floor was the perfect answer to the question everyone was whispering. Could Jennifer Lopez, a star from the 90s, really hang with the new kids on the block? And this song was a loud, clear, definitive yes. It proved she wasn't just keeping up, she was leading the whole pack.
You see, in the end, this wasn't about chasing a trend. It was about her reasserting who she was, blending that timeless Latin vibe with a sound that was totally modern. It was just a massive win for her, both personally and professionally. A statement that good music is always timeless.
And that kind of leaves us with one final interesting thought. On the Floor showed us that a classic melody never really dies. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In today's world, with TikTok blowing up old songs all the time, what other forgotten classic is out there just waiting for the right person to give it a 21st century makeover?